So he often uses his puppet as an alternate personality that he can use to communicate, although the puppet is far from PC and is known to insult the cast and flirt with the girls.
Tell your puppet to quit being mean to me!
Don't call him a puppet! That's an offensive term!
Interestingly, Rex is not actually voiced by the actor playing Robbie. Instead, series writer Jake Farrow dubs the puppet in each and every episode, playing him to have a deep voice and an accented cadence.
I was hoping we could be more than friends.
You could argue that Rex and Robbie are, in a way, a representation of the Freud psychoanalytic theory, which posits that there are numerous different aspects of our personalities which we strive to strike a balance between. Rex is thus the id, the primitive and instinctual part of the mind that contains sexual and aggressive drives. And Robbie is the superego, the logical moral compass which seems to work in opposition to its counterpart.
I told you global warming was bogus.
Stop watching Fox News.
No, it's fair and balanced.
Robbie lacks any sort of ego or balance between these two parts of his mind, and so he seems to allow each part to filter out into two different personalities, and often verbal communication is the only way that information can pass from one side of his brain to the other. Sometimes Rex will figure out a social cue before Robbie, for instance, and can only communicate that information through mockery. However, another way to look at it more literally is that there's actually quite a lack of clarity if this relationship is really one person being personified in two different ways, or if Rex and Robbie are literally two different people and something seemingly supernatural is going on. It's worth noting that if, say, Rex is stuffed into a backpack, his voice does seem to come from the backpack. And I'm sure as we go on that there will be more moments where doubt is brought into question about whether ventriloquism has anything to do with the Rex phenomenon.
Well, on Friday at school, I asked Rex if he wanted to see a movie with me on Sunday night. And now it's Sunday night, and Rex says he has other plans!
Which I do.
However, there is kind of a third side to this that, I gather if you're into Victorious, you're not supposed to say this out loud. And it's something that's kind of subtle if you're a kid, but really, really overt if you're an adult. But it is still kind of ambiguous, so I just want to take a moment here to stop and go ahead and say this out loud so we're all on the same page. Rex is supposed to be black. The joke of this dynamic is clearly that Robbie is this awkward Jewish teenager, and meanwhile the puppet he speaks through is a black caricature.
That was a good one, Beck. Lip gloss.
And I know that in a retrospective like this, given that this is something very few of you probably figured out as kids, I need to supply evidence. Well, as far as I know, there's only one specific moment in the series where this is ever confirmed directly. In the blooper episode, there's a joke where we see Rex auditioning for the show, and he speaks with a natural British accent. And we hear the show's creator off-screen yell,
"Can you do a realistic American urban accent?"
And even if I didn't have that piece of evidence, just look at the puppet in the pilot episode. Look at it. If this wasn't an aspect of the original joke, they wouldn't have kept redesigning the puppet to try and lighten its skin over time. It's pretty clearly what it seems to be.